All right. It says we are live to hello everyone. Welcome to this week's, month's, year's episode of Dolo Digs. Y'all, we have months, years. We're just gonna wait for some more people to come in the chat. Is that you or me?
Hold on, dear. I need to
I give feedback. Where is that? I was like, is that you, God? Are you talking to me? No. You sound like me, though.
Dear God, it's me, Margaret.
Girl, how many times have you read that book? Anyway. So we're just waiting for a few more people to come in the chat while we're sitting here. Going to introduce our lovely guest, Barbie, shortly. And so how is everybody doing today? I'm sure some people been better. Some people been worse. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, hey, Beth, girl. Hey, Claudia. Hey, y'all. Y'all just coming in.
Hi, friends. Welcome.
And so, we're just going to hang out here for a minute and let some more people come into the chat and see how many we get.
And
Dave might pop on, y'all.
I'm trying to fix the whole volume situation.
Oh, okay.
So just 1 second.
Oh, she said shh.
No, I would never shush you.
I
would never shush you.
I said, did she shush me?
No, girl.
Let me take my earrings off.
No. Hang on. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, girl.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Claudia. Oh, Claudia, girl.
Okay.
Oh, no, ma'am. What happened? Why'd your house flood? Hey, Sharon. This Caroline. I see Daniel's in the chat. Mr. Daniel.
Oh, Daniel, honey.
Love you. So, yeah, apparently Claudia's dealing with mice, dead and living, and a flood.
Oh, Claudia.
Girl, I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry
to hear that. So before we start, I just want to kind of address what happened in Kentucky and a lot of the states surrounding them, like Illinois, Arkansas, I believe, Missouri, Indiana. A lot of these states were affected by tornadoes. And look, I just want to say, we're all going to we're thinking of y'all. Yeah. We're sending prayers, positive thoughts. And if there's any way, if you're in the area or live around the area, any way you can help, don't be afraid to do so.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to, contact the Red Cross in that area or any other charitable organizations that are going to help all these people who will need this help for now and for the near future and for a while to come. Because I'm from an area that had tornadoes originally, so I know how devastating they can be. So let's just all take a moment to think about them, and let's try to if we can help them, do so.
Absolutely, Dolores, thank you for saying that. And even if it's just to reach out to somebody that lives in one of those affected areas, just to say, hey, how are you doing? I think anything I can do, just reach out.
Correct. 100%. That's all you can do. Sometimes if I get on a plane and go over there and help them right now, child, I would go right now.
Yes, and I will be booking my flight to Illinois. I just have to work out some details.
But so let's see. So yeah, Claudia said they didn't get it too bad. That's good, Claudia, except they got a flood warning. And then Poe Daniel.
Yeah.
Poe Daniel.
I'm so grateful, Daniel, that you are able to chat with us this morning. You went through.
Yes, I'm glad you're
last
okay.
Night.
Especially Muffin. I'm glad she's okay. All right, y'all. Send me Cheetos. Oh, okay. Send me Cheetos. Can we know this? We can see the news. Please, Dave, please don't put negative things in my chat. We know.
Hi, Dave.
Anyway, yes, FEMA can. I don't know about FEMA will probably, and to be fair, the governor of Kentucky will probably declare a state of emergency, and most of these states will as well. And that's when you can start to get help. Fat birds, I think, Claudia, are okay. They posted on Instagram that they were fine where they were at. So, and also Michelle Newton's covered. She's also in Kentucky. She's okay. Mickey, Thrift in the Holler, she's all right as well. But if you just want to reach out to them, and maybe if you reach out to them because they're in the state, they can direct you to a place in which to make donations or help out or whatever you want to do. Hi, Linda.
Beth, that's what I heard too.
Oh yeah, that I care. Yes, I mean, look, I care about Daniel, but Miss Muffin is the spirit animal, so that's all there is. That's all there is to it. All right. So today, guys, we have Barbie here in the chat, and
in the chat, I'm live and in person.
Sorry, live. She's live here, live with me. Also, before we get started, there will be a giveaway at the end. It is because this is the last Dolo digs of the year.
Jazz hands.
So I'm doing a giveaway. It'll be candy and some vintage stuff. So it'll be wrapped in Christmas paper. Merry Christmas, y'all. Okay, so this is Barbie. If you don't know her, her channel is Punk Funk and Junk, and PunkFunknJunk-Barbie. Please make sure you put that all in because you'll get somebody else with a camera. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Barbie. Where are you from?
I was born and raised in Minnesota, which is at the tip top of the United States, where it snows and is cold most of the year.
Really? Do you enjoy living there? I mean, you're from there, obviously, but I mean, are you now the cold and snow don't bother you, or you just like, I'm over this?
It's a love-hate relationship, to be quite honest. It's very, very beautiful here, and we are so lucky to celebrate 4 seasons. However, if I am able to at some point leave here, and I'm a Pisces, so I'm a water person. So if I can live somewhere by water, particularly an ocean, that is something that I'm putting into the universe and have been for so long. But one of the things that was always on my list was to visit the Boundary Waters Canoe Area. It's also known as BWCA, which is a protected reserve up in northern Minnesota, right by the Canadian border. That is like close to heaven on earth. You can't do motor boats in the water, so the water is clear. There's nothing mechanical that can go on up in there. And that is just, when I was up there, I said out loud to myself, I don't want to live anywhere else. And I was like, wait, what?
But it sounds amazing. Especially with the no mechanical, no motorboats on it, because that keeps it like probably very pristine. Is it like is it a nature reserve?
It is.
Okay.
There's no cell phone towers. There's nothing. It's just absolutely amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, that sounds really nice. Oh, thank you, Claudia. It's a sweater, girl. It's a sweater. So when did your love of vintage start?
Oh my gosh. Excuse me. I'm going to say it first started very young, watching old movies. And I would love to see the way people decorated sets and what were on the sets. What first caught my eye were the old lamps. I started collecting old lamps and old vintage jewelry. My parents started going to auctions in my teens, and I would follow them along because I couldn't be trusted alone at home. No, that's not true. I was probably 12 or 13 at the time, so I would go along to auctions with them, and I saw that process. And one day they bought me an auction lot. It was absolutely beautiful, and it was full of a person's makeup.
Oh, wow.
And it was highly pigmented makeup. And some of the makeup, and in this lot, there was this beautiful iridescent hazel atlas dish. I didn't know it was hazel atlas at the time,
right?
But I think that's when I got my love for glassware as well. So I think things do imprint you when you're younger. And I just remember going through all of her makeup, and it was so beautiful. And of course, I was just starting to learn to wear makeup at that time. And so I
Right.
was sort of experimenting, and I don't know what happened to the woman. And that's when that also got my love of finding, what are the stories behind everything that you collect,
Mm-hmm.
and who was this person and what did she do? And why is all of her makeup here?
Right.
Did she pass on? What happened to her?
Right.
I would come up with some elaborate story, of course. But so that's when that all started.
That's great. Do you still have the Hazel Atlas glassware? Or
Unfortunately, no, I had it for many, many years and not knowing what it was, of course, or the significance of it. And living at home, I could only have so many things. So
Right.
I focused on the vintage jewelry for a while.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, who doesn't love vintage jewelry?
I know, right?
So when did you decide that you knew you loved vintage? You probably, when you got to a point in your life where you were more established and were working and thought, well, I can start collecting this for myself. I can, because when you're younger, you're just trying to make ends meet. You're not doing, well, I'm going to go out and buy all this and decorate my house. You're like, yes, you are going to thrift stores to decorate your house because that's all you can afford. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you're not necessarily looking for the she vintage fabulousness of it all. You're like, can I afford this? You know what I mean? So when did you get to the point where you're like, I want to start decorating with it on like a serious level, or have you always been that way?
I knew going into it that there were only certain things I could focus on because of money.
Right.
So so from the jewelry, I did go to vintage lamps. So I would decorate with the lamps, and I love the old lampshades. Now, the lamps I'm talking about aren't like the mid-century ones. They're the even older ones, like the white or milk glass hobnail ones.
Yeah.
Things like that. And I loved sometimes the lampshades with the poofy trim around them and things like that. So I started with that. And then I also had some very lead crystal ones that were like this tall, the boudoir, as Uncle George likes to say, the boudoir lamps.
Boudoir lamps.
So I had those. I do remember one time going to a depression glass show. Budget was so tight, but I loved depression glass so much at the time. And I ran into this one booth, and they had these beautiful cut glass. They were bigger than cordials, but they were, for wine, what have you. And this was I've never found it since. But it was so intricately cut, and the details, it was so gorgeous. And it came in a set. And anyway, I only bought one because I could only afford one.
Right. Yeah.
But at the time, it was $27 for the one glass. But I couldn't escape. I mean, it had etching on it, and the detail was so fine. It was just the most beautiful piece of glass that I'd ever seen up to that point in my life. And I'll never forget it. And but it was $27. I mean, at the time, in my early 20s,
even
that was a lot of money.
now, that's a lot for a glass. Okay?
I know. It was a big chunk of my budget in my early 20s. So it was gorgeous, and I haven't seen it since.
And of course, if y'all have questions, go ahead and put them in the comments for Barbie. I'll highlight them so we can see them. Here's the thing, and you picked. I want to pick up on this because you said the word depression glass, which I also like. And you get, there's phases that happen in the vintage world, and I mean, or so they say. Do you know what I mean? Like, well, depression glass isn't in, or this isn't in. Here's the thing. I think people like what they like, whether it's in or not. And then, oh, hey, Christine, Side Street Market Girl, thanks for coming. So what I think I'm trying to say is, is there a thing that you like? Like, I mean, you love depression glass, and people go, oh, well, that's not in anymore. It depends on if you love it. It doesn't matter if it's in. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do.
You can take a out of fashion depression glass piece and put it somewhere in your display and make it look fabulous. It is, so that, and I think that a lot of people go, well, yeah, like, oh, it's the death of the fairy lamp, or this is going out of style. But I think there's things that I just think all these vintage things will never go out of style, regardless of what it is. If you want it, if you like it, and you can use it in your display, I say go for it, because you don't have to have all depression glass or all this or all that. You can mix it with modern and new and stuff. So I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm sure there's things that you probably like that people go, oh, well, no one's really buying that anymore. And you're like, yeah, good. I can buy more of it.
There are, and I can share what that is, but I've always been of the type for if everyone's collecting it, I go away from it.
Right.
And an example of that, and since it's starting to wean down now, but fairy lamps, tacky is always in style.
Tacky's always in style, Daniel. Amen.
Mm-hmm. I'll just use fairy lamps as an example. Fairy lamps were the it thing to collect and buy and resell for a while. And I went away from it because everyone was doing it. Everyone wanted one. And it actually turned me off because of the popularity of it, if that makes sense. So when something gets that big like that, I just actually go away from it because I figure you're going to get it somewhere from someone. And it's, if everyone has it, what makes it special? Yeah. I mean, granted, there are some gorgeous fairy lamps to die for. But it was like that in high school, as far as everybody got a class ring, because that was the thing to do back then in the 80s. You got a class ring.
Never got one.
Never got one.
Nope, me neither.
Everybody gets what? Why? It's, so, but one thing that I do collect is pottery. It's not always in fashion. It's not always something that you highlight, but pottery to me is so beautiful. There's a story, again, like with other things.
Yes.
There's a story behind it. There's feeling that goes into it. There's passion, just someone's hands touching it and molding it. It's just, for me, and then the end result and what they create. I love that.
And I think, like with pottery, it's every piece is so different. You're not going to, yes, you can get mass produced pottery. I appreciate that. But I think when you're starting to get into the vintage and the way they made them, they weren't always the same. Yes. There was always some kind of something different. Even if it was small, there was not a flaw, but a character. A character spot on it that was different than something else. And I agree. Claudia K, she collects amber glass. That's definitely not in. Girl, I love amber glass.
Oh, yes, yes.
I absolutely love it. I don't care if it's autumn or not. Do you know what I mean? Like, I love it. That's such a good. And that's a good thing. It's like everything is seasonal. I mean, if I could have Christmas up all year, I would. Do you know?
Oh, and for me, it's autumn.
I love that. Is my favorite. Christmas is my after autumn. I had to put Christmas up because I'm so sad that autumn is over.
Right? I know.
I see Andrea Kane came in. Hey, Andrea Kane. Hey, Deb Sherman. Thanks for coming in.
Hi, Andrea. Hi, Deb.
So when did you start to sell? Like, have you always sold vintage, or did you think, oh, I have a lot of it, I want to sell it? Or, do you want to, did you think I can do this?
I've always known I could do it. I didn't start doing it though until 2017.
Oh, okay.
Why 2017? I don't know what made that year particularly the year to do it.
Right.
I think finally, probably because I was sick of myself saying, I got to sell this stuff. I can sell this stuff. Yeah. I'd spend so much time on eBay and watching other people sell stuff. And then I started listening to a particular podcast, The Scavenger Life, which is really good. I would highly recommend that podcast.
The Scavenger Life. And I like podcasts, so I would definitely check that out.
Mm-hmm. They're a couple, and they built a great reseller community. So I started listening to them, and they laid out the nuts and bolts of it. And yes, and we know this, us as resellers, we know this. It's great. It's a wonderful thing. I have a passion for antiques and vintage items, and I know things about them, and I want to sell them, and I want to keep them out of the landfill. But it's a lot of work.
Oh.
And they talk about that. There is so much work involved in reselling. Mm-hmm. But you know what? There's so many good, wonderful, exciting things about it too that make it so worth it. So I started in 2017 selling on eBay, and God, it was great. It's awesome. I love it. And then with the pandemic hitting,
Oh.
all
Mhm.
that, I started, watching people online
Yep.
on YouTube, all that.
Yeah, I mean, same, exactly the same.
And uh, there's also a group of folks that I started hanging out with, it's a reseller accountability group that's a mix of a whole bunch of people. I started with them in this group in March of 2020, right around when what hit.
Right.
And
Mhm.
we just met via Zoom and talked on the phone and supported each other and uplifted each other's. Some sell Poshmark, some eBay, some Etsy. So that was really good and a good support system as well.
That's interesting. Yeah, that is so cool that you found a group of like-minded people in your community,
Yeah.
or in a space where you could share all these, this love of, and this,
Mhm.
and battering ideas back and forth and getting advice. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's great. So, do you do it full time?
I I actually just started doing it full time a couple months ago.
Wow, congratulations. That's great, Barbie.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's been a process in that I'm still trying to figure things out in that
Right.
and other resellers have talked about this too. It's the discipline that goes with it. It's the
Mhm.
discipline of going to a 9 to 5. You go there and you have set things that are expected of you, and there's deadlines, and someone tells you that and you get them done,
Yep.
and then setting those same expectations for myself and getting those things done. I'm accountable to Daniel with our live sales, and I'm accountable to you showing up for this interview, and I'm accountable when I need to ship things for people. But as far as some other things, like I want to get some more videos up and being accountable to doing that, I do enjoy that.
Yeah.
But it's just making that time management for
Oh,
me is
girl.
I'm just not very good at it, and so I'm having to learn that. So
That
it's
itself is a whole nother
oh my
discussion. You
gosh,
know what I mean? Discussion.
it's been a struggle for me. But my hope for this coming year is that it's something that I can get better with. Yes.
Oh, that. Hi, Harry. Thanks for coming in. That's another question I was going to ask you. How what are your plans for the new year? You just said time management, and that's, I'm going to touch on that for a minute. We're not going to go too deep in it because that's, like I said, that's a whole discussion in itself. So, and it is like you said, the getting up, the okay, I've got to do this at this time, this at this time. When you go into an office, um, then it's a little different because you've got someone telling you what to do, and you've got deadlines to meet, and then now you're like, well, now there's no one pushing me. I got to push myself.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, exactly. There's people that I follow, motivational wise. Like there's people that I follow that help with that. And just, y'all, I'm about to kind of get a little preachy here, but
no. I think this is what people need to hear or would like to hear. I would like to hear. Tell me. I want to know.
It's about mindset, and it's about changing your mindset and your habits.
Yes.
I have a quote on my phone. This isn't verbatim, but if I keep living by my habits, I'm not going to be successful because my habits right now are not that great.
Right.
And for so many years, I lived a certain way, working a 9 to 5 job. But now at this age and this time of my life, I have to switch that mental thinking, and I've got to do something different.
Yeah.
And the fact that I don't have a job other than reselling.
Well, you have a job. You just don't go. You're not going out of the house to a job. That's the difference.
Yes.
But that's also, you have to think about it that way. You can't say, well, I don't really have a job. No, you do. And I think that's the mindset that you need to change.
Exactly. Good point. And so I have to have that be my carrot and be, if I don't do this, things might get turned off, right?
100%.
It can't just be the thrill of the hunt and sourcing for things.
Which is fun, but
that wears off.
Yep.
It really wears off. As much as I enjoy watching other resellers, you, Daniel, Claudia, I've got to focus on my own business. And
you do 100%. Yes.
I'm grateful for those videos, but what I'm realizing, and I talked to Daniel about this too, is I used to sit and watch, Jeffrey and Misty and George, but now I'm on that side of it with them now.
Yes.
And I've got to be that business focused. And so that is really what I need and want to do. It's changing your business. It's changing your mindset. It's getting up in the morning and saying, this is, today is going to be great. I'm going to have a good day. I'm going to list this many items on eBay and Etsy. And the big thing is not to set 12 goals for the day. For me, maybe it's setting 3 goals. I'm going to list 5 on eBay. I'm going to list 5 on Etsy. And I'm going to package 4 packages.
Yeah.
Because if I make it too big of a goal, I found for myself in these last couple months, then it's like,
right. Then you're like,
I'm a failure.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to put too much of an expectation on yourself, only to feel like you failed.
Right.
In so much that if you put in realistic goals, then yes, Deb Sherman, exactly, reasonable goals, and that you can attain those. And then when you attain those, then you think, okay, I can increase it a little bit, and reach this goal.
Right.
So I that's a very, and it is hard. It's not just hard for someone doing it full time. It's hard for anybody to do it, but especially when you're doing it full time, it's very difficult to stay on that track. Just real quick, Linda with Thrift and Vintage Junkie. Hey girl, she put this. She wants to know if you got any snow.
Oh, Linda and I were on Sugar Britch's live sale last night. We were talking about that. East St. Paul got 21 inches.
Dang, Linda.
Holy hell. Okay, so she's not too far from me in Ridgefield. I know, luckily I'm right off of Lexington Parkway, Linda, just so you know, and the street is plowed. I'd say I probably got 6 inches. I got lucky.
Wow, Linda, that is crazy.
That part of Minnesota where she's at, and that there's just like where Daniel is, there was a stream. It just hit the perfect spot. It was like a perfect storm. If you hit this perfect spot, and they got dumped.
Girl, I mean, we get 2 inches. We're like, oh, and I live in England, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, 2 inches. What do we got? Shut the city down. Yeah, if we got a snowflake in Texas, the whole state would shut down.
Oh,
okay, but
you would.
In England, when it gets 2 or 3 inches, people panic. I panic because I'm like, how are you driving this? I mean, I can now, but before I couldn't. Hi, Jazz dear. Girl, that's okay if you're late. We're glad you were here.
So glad you're here.
So
wanted to point out, sorry for
go ahead.
You. I wanted to point out something that Daniel brought up too, because I have these days too, because for me, I manage, I have some mental illness, and I manage that with items that are prescribed by my doctor. But yeah, there are some days that just getting out of bed is all that I can do. And so that's when just listing a couple of goals per day, because if I don't, it's just a never ending cycle of, I'm not good enough for this, and I am, and I will succeed at it, but it's got to be manageable at the same time.
I mean, this is going back to attainable goals. You have to do what is right for the individual.
Right.
So Jane Doe over here can make, can list 50 items and do this and do this and do that. That is not you.
No.
You may be a list. I mean, you may get to that point one day, but you have to work your way to that point. And 2, you have to do what's comfortable for you.
Yeah.
And if it feels right for you, then that's what you need to do.
Absolutely.
Okay, Deb Sherman got a foot of snow. Where you at, Deb?
She's not too far from me either.
Girl, yep.
Dang, Deb.
Dang is right. Oh
You
my God.
got more than I did.
And Jazz just said it snowed every 5 years for a while for me while growing up in Houston. Did it? Because I grew up in Houston, and yeah, I'd say it did, but I don't think it was like not like what they're getting, girl. Um, we would get the snow, and we would panic, and we would like, oh, what do we do? It's snowing, oh, So that's crazy. So what is so what vintage items are you drawn to? Like, I know you want to sell everything, but what do you find yourself going when you see it? You're just beeline to it. Like, I don't, I'm gonna sell this.
Ooh. The first thing that came to my mind was kitsch.
Anything like kitschy little items.
Um, that's what first came to my mind. But what really brings my attention is something that I know is really neat and special that I know someone else is going to enjoy, and I don't want to go to the landfill. So,
Right.
for instance, I was this was probably about a year ago. I went to Savers, which is, I don't know if anybody's familiar with the Savers.
We have them in Houston. They have them in Houston.
And it's a great place to, when they have sales, to shop for a resale. And on the bottom shelf, it's getting harder for me to bend down and look at the bottom shelf anymore. But on the bottom shelf, there are these 2 wood goblets, and they are hand carved.
Uh-huh.
And there was a saying on the side, and it was in Irish. I don't remember what the saying was. And I only know it was in Irish because I brought them home and looked them up. And on the bottom, there was green felt, so it would protect the table. And they were absolutely lovely. And I thought, 1, these are kind of kitschy. 2, someone handmade these. And 3, if I don't save these are going to go to the landfill. And I know someone else wants these.
Yeah.
So I brought them home, researched them, listed them. And sure enough, someone in Ireland bought them from me.
Oh, that's amazing.
I love that.
That is such a good story, because you don't know, maybe their grandma had them or something. They're like, oh.
Exactly. That's the kind of thing I'm drawn to. Because again, it goes back to, what's the story behind this?
Right.
And so I think that attracts me first. But beside that, I mean, I love ephemera is my favorite thing to collect.
Good postcards.
Postcards are my jam. Thank you for the ones you sent. I just bought
Did you get
a lot of postcards from Dolores, and they were from England, and they're amazing.
Oh, so you got them. Okay.
Thank you. Yes, I got them. And I'm like, heck yeah, I'm going to buy some postcards from England. So they're great. Thank you. And so ephemera, I love old vintage books, postcards, paper ephemera. That's my true love and jam. Yes.
Oh, I see. I knew. So I've put Barbie's channel in the chat, and if you're not following her, why not? Y'all need to go over there and follow the girl. And I see Wayne. Hey, Wayne, the Haberdashery Project. He's just popped in. So here's the thing. So see this, and this a lot of times I sell on Etsy and eBay, but when I sell on Etsy, it's a little different than eBay. We all know this. And I've had people message me after they purchased something, bought it, and said, I bought this for my grandma because my grandpa had bought her something, and she like that, and she lost it, and he's now since passed away, and these stories, I'm like, oh,
yes,
it's so good. Yeah. And again, Daniel's right. Sometimes there are some very dark stories behind the vintage item, and you need to be prepared for that as well.
That's true.
When you buy something and then you read the history, and you're like, eek. Do you know what I mean? It's like, wow. Mm-hmm. It doesn't devalue it at all. It's just that some stories are meant to be shared, and some stories are not meant to be shared. And the thing about this, you have an item that has a dark past. It has its dark past. It is now going to have a different future with somebody to make happy memories with that.
Yes, absolutely. And that's why this business, if you will, that we're in is, for me, is amazing, and I enjoy it so much.
Yes, the items that you sell or pick spark so many memories. I know they do, and that's what you're selling is memories.
Yes,
you're selling nostalgia, memories. things that people, it reminds them of happier times or when they were young or, a certain time in their life. And you just, and you honestly can't put a price on that sometimes. That is just, it means so much to the individual.
Yes.
And that you've helped, it's like you've helped brought that item to that individual and you like, there you go. It's yours now. Do you know what I mean? It's a wonderful feeling.
Yes. And I have one quick story about that as well. And I had a postcard on my eBay store. It was in there for quite a while. It was a real photo postcard, which are very popular. It was of a church in St. Peter, Minnesota. So it was very old photograph. And I only had it listed for like $2, which is neither here nor there, but it had such sentimentality. So I sold it to a person here in Minnesota. They left a comment on eBay saying, "Thank you so much. This was the church that my grandparents got married in, and it had burned down. The church had burned down."
Oh my, see, that's so beautiful.
And I commented back, "Thank you for sharing this. This is why I do eBay. I mean, this is why I do what I do, why I love it so much."
Exactly. It's one of those things where, I mean, you when people find these things and it brings that much joy to them, they can't find it anywhere else.
No.
Or they're going to spend a long time looking for it. And it's just a wonderful thing to marry somebody with something that they really, really wanted, or that brings that joy to them or the memories to them.
Exactly. So I'm really grateful. I mean, COVID, a lot of terrible things came up with that, but there have been some blessings. And one of those, I think, is bringing the vintage community and the antique community together like this, so we can all share our items and people can have some of that nostalgic and get some of those items. And then we've all kind of become this family, whether we're the reseller or the buyer. I've met so many wonderful, great people. I've got a friend for life with several people that I've met, and it's been so wonderful.
I mean, that's how I met Beth. That's how I met Daniel. That's how I met, you. That's how I've met, and all these people in community and the back and forth, and it's so wonderful. And it did get me through the pandemic. And I think Jessica, hey girl, I forgot to say hi to Jessica.
Hey Jessica.
She knows because we were both in lockdown together. Not together in the same house, but we were locked down 3 different times. It was like season 3 of lockdown. Okay.
You guys went through a heck of a lockdown.
And I think in both our cases, it helped us with our mental stability, because it was very hard, especially that last 3rd time. I said, if this happens again, I'm just getting on a plane going to Texas. Bye, Dave. I'm going to miss you. Gonna miss y'all here in England, but I can't do this again.
It was really hard.
It really got us through. And so what does Linda say? I found that the reseller community during the pandemic, yes, ma'am, a very welcome diversion. A lot of wonderful folks I follow tossed around becoming a reseller, but just a collector for now. But you know what, Linda? Come on to the dark side. Come on, Linda. Come on to the dark side, girl.
The water is good and it's warm.
I think a lot of people felt the same way, and because you always think you're alone in that feeling, like you're the only one feeling that way,
right?
And like, well, no one else. I mean, everybody else got great lives, and you're like, and then you start to realize that everybody's in the same boat.
Yep.
It's not. We're all here. Excuse me, just struggling, trying to make it in the current situation, and
Exactly. It goes to that thing you read. You never know what someone's going through. Just if they look a certain way on the outside, you don't know what's going on the inside.
100%. You really, really don't. Julie, she did open a YouTube and Instagram. We'll be waiting and watching.
Yes, ma'am.
Linda, you let us know. We'll be there. I've made some. Daniel says he's made some great friends in the vintage community. 100%.
Yep.
Yeah. And I see, hey Brenda, thanks for coming in. Let's see what I decided to buy vintage for Christmas. Found a 1985 Ernie stuffy for my oldest son. Ernie was his bestie. Oh my God, that is such a pretty story. Girl, I mean, I'm gonna cry. Hang on, I need a napkin.
Thank you, Brenda, for sharing that.
That's a great story, Brenda. That's it. And it brings people together for several different reasons.
Yeah, yeah.
So now my next question for you is, what is your white whale?
Tiffany. A piece of Tiffany.
Really? What,
I'd really like to
jewelry
find
or a lamp?
a lamp. I'd like to find,
Okay.
because I love lamps. I'd love to find a Tiffany, even if it's just a little nightlight. No, I don't think they made that night. A Tiffany lamp is my white whale, and I think that's a really, really big stretch. But maybe if
Hey,
I
you never
travel
know.
and shop somewhere else, but that is my white whale.
So here's a good question from Caroline. What places do you guys like to go and find treasure? Because you guys really find some unique items. I mean, where do you like to go, Barbie? I mean, you'll have to give away any trade secrets if you don't want, but what type of places do you like to go? Where do you feel like what do you find? Is it a mix where you find good stuff, or is it just like certain places?
It's a mix. There are thrift stores that I thrift at, and I think when I go there, I think it's sometimes, and this is my opinion, sometimes I think it's just luck of the draw. I think, whether I'm there at a specific day, time, place, I find really good items that are good for resale. I'm one of those people, and people have talked about this. The particular thrift store, the couple that I really like to go to is they have the bags of,
oh yes,
like the grab bags.
We don't get that here.
And I tell you what, here's a trade secret. If I have patience to go through them, some people do not.
Right.
But if you have the patience to go through all of those bags, you will find some really good gems in there. Now, right. The only caveat is sometimes, like I grabbed a grab bag and I could see that there was a little left in Christmas little elf figure or Christmas elf figurine. I'm like, I'm getting this bag for this guy. The only thing is then they throw in a few other pieces in it, and I got it home and his neck was cracked. Oh. So sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
It's a gamble.
Yes. So, and then I found some great stuff at antique stores too. Oh. But I think it's just like you said, right place, right time. And so that's another thing with my business. And I was talking to Daniel about this too, is, perhaps now that I'm doing it full time, I might have to go out every single day to those couple places that I go, mm-hmm. because if I go every day, then I know what's right. recycled and what's been through and what I've gone through. Yeah. Just because, just to get the items that are going to be great for resale. Yeah. Because you just never know what you're going to find.
I see Bree came in. Hey Bree, hey girl. Hi Bree. Kitchen Cat says church rummage sales are, yes.
Oh my God. Yes. And then garage sales. I cannot wait till the spring because
we don't have those here either.
Will be great.
We don't really have like garage sales here. We don't have grab bags. We don't have we do have some church sales. We have what they call jumble sales. And they may either be me and Jessica went to one recently. It either in a church or a community hall. And it's just everybody's jumble on a table. Like, it's like very British jumble sales. It's like people stuff on a table. And so we do get those here a lot. So now that you have been doing this for a while, what lessons have you learned, and what lessons have you learned? Like, oh, I'll do this different, or I'll do that different now that I know. And she said, I'm still learning.
Well, that did come to mind. Yes, I am still learning. I've gotta watch my budget better. Because going back to what I said, I like to save things from the landfill. Yeah. And I truly believe that. But what I also have to realize is, yes, those particular wood carved goblets, there was a buyer. It did take a little while. Right. So it's just knowing, and that's the trick too, is knowing what people want. Right. Because things are always changing.
and that's what we were talking about earlier, like where we said there's like styles that come in and out, things go in and out of fashion. It's one thing for us as just collectors, like just not not the reselling side of us, the collector side of us wants to keep it and go, oh, someone don't like this. But the reality of it is, as a reseller, you're like, man, is there a market for that? Is that something people are into? Now, we may personally want to put all depression glass in our house, which we love, but you do have to kind of follow trends in a way, in that this is the business side, is I have to follow trends. I to some degree have to follow what is going on in house styles and in fashion, and that's the reality of it. Because I tell Beth all the time, we're basically retail. Even though we don't sell in a store, we don't go to a brick and mortar spot, we are retail.
Right.
We're just retailing old items, vintage items.
Right. And then another thing is, for me in this next year, along with the question you just posed, is other streams of income. So like I said, I'm a huge fan of ephemera, and I've recently come into several big lots of ephemera items. And so I want to, and this idea is not new by any means. People do it on Etsy, and other resellers do it, but I want to create some ephemera lots for people for their projects.
See, I love that.
And so that's just another stream of income for me in my business, because one, I enjoy ephemera. So that's so enjoyable. And I think it helps if you like what you're doing as well. But so,
yes.
And then, so that's something I want to carry into the new year as well.
Yeah, that's a good plan. It's always good to have, I'm going to, have not a backup plan, but have a diversify.
Right.
So to speak. You know
Any business should have.
You should always be ready to change and diversify and add something and add a different flair to get people to come. Because when I sold jewelry, my own, I make jewelry. So I sold
that's
that
yours.
and Etsy. And then I started to I went to New Hampshire in 2017 to visit my friend, and she does estate sales, and she had like a whole thing of vintage costume jewelry. It wasn't like expensive stuff, but it was, brooches and
Nice.
necklaces. She said, hey, you want to sell this? I was like, sure, I'll put it in my Etsy shop, see if it flies. You know what I mean? Because what happened though is that because I put the vintage jewelry in my Etsy shop, it brought people to my Etsy shop who wouldn't have normally come because they weren't necessarily looking for handmade jewelry.
Exactly.
So as a result of that, they would buy a piece of vintage. Oh, wait, and look at this cool handmade bracelet.
Yes.
So diversifying is good because you're going to bring different people in who wouldn't normally have come to your shop or your Etsy or your eBay, and then see the things that you do have.
Yes.
So, you know what I mean? And that's why diversifying, that's why a lot of people, like Jessica does it, Christine does it. I'm just teetering on the edge of doing it, is reselling more modern stuff on eBay.
Gotcha. Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep, I do.
So I work full time, so it's not like, this is my main income. I have a full-time job and I do this on the side. So I'm a part-time reseller, but
excuse me, kudos to you and those who like you work full-time and do this part-time, because like I said, it's a lot of work. And the fact that you are a great partner to your husband Dave and your fur babies, but you work full-time and you have a part-time business. So
thank you. It is it's hard. You just got to do what you got to do, really, at the end of the day. Here's learning how to be healthy mentally and physically is a huge learning curve for me right now, and since doing this full time.
Agreed.
Yes, 100%. That is because, like you said, you had a routine of working in outside the home,
right?
Or going to or working for the man. You're working for someone else. Now that you're working for yourself, you have to find that schedule that works for you. That it's not going to be 9 to 5. It may be 10 to 4, or it may be 10 to 2, and then you take a big break, and then you have to fit in shopping, then you have to fit in packaging, and then doing your live sales and listing and photographs, and So it's just finding that right balance, because you don't want to overstretch yourself.
No.
Or, you don't want to make commitments you can't keep.
Exactly. And like they say, with anything, you gotta do you first before you can be good to anyone else.
Bree sets a schedule every day. And I think that's very good
fantastic,
advice.
Bree. Good for you.
I mean, and that's an important thing. It's like, it doesn't have to look like anybody else's schedule.
No.
Your schedule is going to reflect what you do, not what everybody else does, because that's how you have to be. It has to work for you. And so you said your plans in the new year. Let's go over that again.
Sure.
So you said you wanted to diversify.
Yep.
And do you sell on Instagram or?
Not yet. So I recently, as of a couple of weeks ago, I don't know if you know this, I have now a booth at an antique store. Well, it's not an antique store. It's collectibles and vintage. It's not.
No,
I
know, but store. That's amazing. You have a booth.
Thank you. No, it's great. I was at this place. Oh gosh, what now? A month ago shopping, and I put everything on the counter, and the woman who rang me up said, "Are you a dealer? You've got a really good eye." And I said,
"Thank you." You were like, "Thank you."
Well, thank you. No, I said, no, I don't, but I've always wanted, that was one of the things on my list that I talked about with that accountability group that I'm a part of, is that I want to get a booth at an antique store. So I told her I was interested in that. She's like, well, let me give you an application. And I filled it out and brought it back a couple days later. And then a couple days later, they called me. And so, yeah, it's vintage and collectible. So they don't actually do antiques there. So, and it's actually known as a man's collectible store.
Oh,
and they're trying to get more women to more, I shouldn't say effeminate, but like there's lots of toys there.
Less traditional masculine items there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
So there's me and there's a couple of other females that bring in more effeminate items, if you will. And so it's been great. I start my first, you have to work, part of the deal is you have to work 12 hours a month.
Oh, at the place.
At the place. So tomorrow's my first 6-hour shift. So we'll see. But here's the really cool part of this place. Get this.
Uh-huh.
If someone comes in and has stuff that they want to, like a man came into the store when I was there sitting at my booth, and he had, what did he have? 20 Santa blow molds, the vintage ones. He said, I want you guys to have these. Make me an offer. And we're like, well, what are you thinking? The point of this is that who's ever working at the store, when people drop stuff off, you get first dibs. And I bought 3 of them.
Oh my God.
They were $20 a piece. He wanted $20 a piece for them.
Oh.
No, he went to, yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna work every day.
$10 or $20 a piece. I know. So the really neat thing is, so I'll be working tomorrow. So not only get to go know the customers, so if people bring things in, I get first dibs. And then if I buy what I want, then you call the next, just keep calling people, the other vendors, to see if they're interested in it. It's really cool.
That's kind of a good deal, though.
I think so.
Mean, you've got a booth, and you're like, I get first dibs if I'm here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Heck yeah. I see that Jenny came in. Hey, Jenny +1 girl.
Hey, Jenny.
And Linda want to know where you booth at.
Oh, girl, yes, you have to come visit me. So it's I should know this. It's May.
I should know this, but yeah, you're going there tomorrow.
Hold that thought. I want to finish this with her question. So for the new year, getting back to, am I going to sell on Instagram? As you know, I think we're both part of the ISN group, and
I'm not part of the ISN.
You're not part of that? Okay.
No, just because I'm in the UK, probably.
Oh.
I've never approached them and asked them, but it's usually just American resellers.
I would love to sell on Instagram. Yes. Yes, that's another goal I have. So that is a goal for next year. The only thing with that is, again, it's a lot of work.
It is.
And, it's the self-discipline. It's my own fear. It's my own fear is what's holding me back.
Right. And only you can get yourself through that. People can tell you, oh, you're fabulous, you're great. But you have to be ready to do that.
Exactly. Yes. The name of the place is Main Drag Collectibles.
I love it.
Main Drag Vintage and Collectibles. It's on 7th in North St. Paul. So that would be quite a hike for you, though.
Yeah, especially with 2 feet of snow, Linda. I don't know how you have to get the snowblower out, girl.
But I'll be there this Sunday and I'll be there next Sunday. So, maybe next Sunday would be better, Linda.
When it starts to when there's less snow on the ground. Linda.
It's supposed to be like 50 degrees on Wednesday, so maybe some of that.
Oh, okay, it'll melt it all then. That's great, Barbie. I'm so glad you got a booth. And like you said, you have to Instagram is a lot of work. I know I do static sale. I've done a live sale with Jessica on Instagram. I've done a couple. I've done static sales, and I'm in a group called which is a vintage, kind of like an ISM, but not as big. But it's like a vintage group like that in the UK. And hang on, Daniel. Wait, let me see. All right, OnlyFans. Hey, Geneva. Thanks for coming in. You're such a mess, Daniel, child. But I do static sale, and with a static sale, I might as well be listing because I got to take a photograph.
Right.
I've got to save a draft into here's the rules, and here's the description, and here's the size, and people could go, well, you don't have to put all that in. I'm like, look, I don't want people messaging me every 5 minutes asking me how big it is. It's all there. Not that anybody really asks me that much, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to have all these. If I put all the information in, people will be more inclined to buy it.
Yes. In
my opinion. They're not going to be like, I don't really want to message this person about
Agreed.
this and that. And yeah. If it's all there, child, really?
Oh my God.
I heard you're pretty good at that. That's what it says on the bathroom walls. Anyways. Yeah, let me take this off because no one wants to see him stroking no dang child.
I've seen it.
I have
bad. He's pretty good at it.
So, you know, in doing the Instagram sale is just like doing a live sale on YouTube or listing on your Etsy or your you know, so listing on your Etsy or eBay. Would you do a static sale? There's a lot of work in it. Trust me. I'll be at work when I'm listening and all that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So yeah. Oh, your popcorn ballerina is so cute. Behind you.
Do you know the story about that?
No, but we want to hear it. Tell us.
Well, this popcorn ballerina used to hang above Daniel on his wall. And I used to admire it when I first started watching his videos. I used to love it and thought it was so cute. And then one day I was rewatching one of his old videos and I saw her and then I remembered that he doesn't have her hanging there anymore. So I asked him about it. I said, hey, where is she? Did you resell her? And he said, no, I still have it. And I said, you know, I offered to, you know, take it off his hands, but, you know, buy it from him. And because I love her so much, and he surprised me and he sent it to me. Now she hangs on my wall.
That's a sweet story. Daniel is sweet. Oh my God! Don't
you know it does happen once in a while.
It pops its ugly head once in a while and being sweet. Oh, that's amazing. All right, guys. So we're at the top of the hour, and I've just learned so much about you, Barbie. So before we go, and we ask about what you're going to be doing. So we're going to have a giveaway, y'all.
Woohoo!
So, because this is the last, he told me to shut up. He said, shut up. This is my last Dolo digs of the year because it's soon will be Christmas and all that. And I'm going to break. So we're going to have a giveaway. It will be a 6x6x6 box full of candy and some candy. British sweets, and some vintage items. So, I'll actually put my I'll put my email in the just in the chat so you can email me your address if you win. Because did I put it in the description? No. So Because that had made sense. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So and we're gonna give it away, and what we're gonna do is, let me just put this in first before we start to freak out. 6 by 6 by 6 inches, Wayne.
She's shipping herself home. She's a sweet treat herself. Mm-hmm.
So that is my hey Chicago lady, hey Jeannie. So that's my email. If you do win the mystery box, please email me your address so I can ship it out to you. This is a giveaway. Or if you want to message me on Instagram and give me your address, you can do that way too. Dan Jewelry UK. So I need everybody, if you want to participate, you need to pick a number between 40 and 60. And you can type it in now, and you can type it as many times as you'd like. So you can play until the number is hit. So go. And this is for a, yeah, she already have, okay, Beth. I already have your address, yes. So, yep, there we go. Number between, oh my God.
Oh my God. Well, after the night he had.
we got it now. We got the winner. Someone's picked the winner. So I'm gonna put stop in. And so did you see the first person I saw?
Yeah.
Okay. So here was the number. It was 59.
He deserves it after that rough night he had.
And Daniel. You cheating fool. No, he didn't cheat, y'all, really. He did not even know that. So Daniel got it. Number 59. Number 59. Okay. Good. So I have one more question for you. It's from Send Me Cheetos. He has this question for you. How are you for storage, Barbie? Do you find you can keep buying even if you are selling slow?
That's a great question. I am packed to the gills, to be quite honest. I'm in a 1-bedroom flat and or apartment, as they say here in the United States, and it's you know, my one thing is not to put it in my bedroom because I wanted my bedroom to be kind of like a sanctuary.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's now not.
That didn't happen.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. That's the same. That's the same problem with space as well.
Well, and then the good thing, I guess, is now with the booth, you know, I have been able to bring a lot there.
Yeah.
So I've been able to free up a whole bookshelf. So that's a start.
That's good. I'm so happy about your shelf. And y'all, if you haven't, I'm going to, can I still do this? No. So can someone put in Barbie's YouTube channel, please? Because it would take me an hour to type it out.
Thank you, love. Daniel's going to send you his information right away.
Whatever, Daniel. Like, did you just give me a box for me? Good Lord. Now I got to send you another one? Dang. So please, if you guys, thanks so much, Barbie, for coming. You just, such good information from you. So good to get to know everybody, get to know you better. I love chatting with you. We do this all the live long day.
Me too.
If people didn't have lives, we could just all sit here and talk.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for inviting me on your channel. I really appreciate it. I've enjoyed Dolo Digs for so long. I used to, if you guys don't know, she does it on her videos as well. And she just does shout outs just because, and she's amazing. So if you're not following, I'm sure you are because you're here, but if you're not following Dolores' YouTube channel, please go ahead and go and subscribe.
Yes. And hey, Tiger.
Tiger,
that's okay. At least we got to see you though, child. Her booth is where's your booth again?
Oh, Main Drag, Collectibles and Vintage on 7th in North St. Paul.
In North St. Paul, y'all. And there's Barbie's channel. Y'all got to follow her, man.
Oh, thank you, Beth.
So what do you have coming up?
I have coming up on Tuesday with my friend Daniel. We have a show on Tuesday mornings, 9 a.m. Central Time, Tacky and Junk. And this week it's going to be on Daniel's channel.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So anything else coming up that you can think of?
No, nope. My book is open. So if anybody's interested.
Yeah.
you know,
y'all get into it. Y'all
call my people, get in touch with my people.
Yeah, she's on
people.
Instagram. So I've got nothing else coming up for me except tomorrow I am live with Daniel on Tacky like Sunday morning on Daniel's channel. I'll be live with him. I will also be putting out a home decor video, being that there's anything left from my cats tearing stuff up. You know what I'm saying? So,
Nice.
that'll be coming out soon. And guys, thanks so much. If we don't see you before the new year or before the holidays, y'all have an amazing Christmas, an amazing festive period, and a happy new year. And we will see y'all in the new year. Thanks so much, guys. Take care,
everybody. Love you all.
Bye.